podcast, baby. Let's go. So what we're gonna cover today, it's not gonna be as long because there's not a whole lot to cover at the moment. Especially in regards to NFL free agency. So like this is that time of the year where, or really that time of the month where all the big prospects get taken and it gets noteworthy, and then the rest of it kind of just fizzles out along the way. It's really the draft that's going to get a lot more interesting as April comes around. The draft is April 24th to the 28th. As I mentioned in my last video. In fact, if you haven't checked out my last video, click in the description below or simply click on the channel tab. It will direct you to it, or you can wait to the end of the video. I'll tag it by then. So, but if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I discussed briefly about what the Saints draft needs were. I didn't get into specifics on who I wanted to draft. So, but that will be today's topic: is who I want the Saints to draft specifically. So, and I took some time to look into all the draft prospects because obviously there's so many of them, you can't really name all the big ones. Well, you can't name every single one of them. You might know some of the more noteworthy players, like for example, Will Campbell of LSU, Ashton Jeffrey, I think it's Giante, of Boise State. He was one of the Heisman runner-ups. And then, of course, everybody knows this one, Travis Hunter of Colorado, who played both wide receiver and cornerback. I mean, just a few examples, of course. So, but I'm not going to cover every single one of them, obviously, because this would take 5 hours to do. So, I don't want to do that today. So, besides, we're only specifically talking about the Saints and nobody else today. So, yeah, so let's get into it. So, I want to briefly mention that the Saints did sign somebody recently. They have agreed terms with unrestricted free agent offensive lineman Dylan Randuns, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He agreed to a 1-year contract. To me, and I've seen Saints Twitter kind of be divisive about it, because you think of the Titans, anybody on the Titans, you're just like, ugh. So, for context, the Titans, I believe, went like 3-14, which is terrible. I should know because one of my closest friends, Will, who's one of my podcast teammates on the Idiots in the I Formation podcast. Which, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to them yet, subscribe and check them out. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. So. But anyway, he's always roasting the Titans all the time, and there's like really nothing good to talk about the Titans. Like, they have nothing going on. In fact, they're more of the meme kings, and we can thank Will Levis for that. We're not going to get over his love for disgusting mayo and coffee. Like, what are you doing, bro? Who dropped you on your head? Why? Oh, God, it's just hilarious. And then, of course, he finds new ways to just make himself look silly. So, but enough about the Titans, so we're not talking about them. So, but we got this guy. He's pretty solid according to the numbers. Is he picture perfect? No. But, in my opinion, and this is where most people are kind of divided about this guy, is that while he doesn't show great numbers, he's still pretty young in his career, and also we have a whole new head coach who has perfected his skill with offensive linemen. I'm not saying he's an offensive line coach. I'm not saying that, but for some reason, whenever each team that he's gone to, that he's coached for, the offensive line does really well. I don't know why. I'm not sure how. But he must be some kind of secret genius about how the offensive line should work and perform. Hey, I mean, if it works, it works. So, plus, it's a 1-year deal contract, so it's like we're not risking much out of this one. So, I actually like it, and gives us more depth because that line needs depth. Let me tell you, it needs a lot of depth. So, and the left guard position is definitely a major need at the moment. So if he works out with us, then great. We just sign him on a really cheap deal, and maybe we can sign him next year. But we'll cross that bridge when we actually see him perform. So now I don't know if he's going to be the starter in particular. I I would assume he's going to be a starter because he has a starting background with the Titans already. So it's possible, but they did say, according to Nick Underhill, who's the Saints beat analyst, beat reporter, you know what I'm talking about. He reported that he's likely going to be competing for the starting position, which makes sense. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Like we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for this one. It's much needed, and let me tell you, the Saints could use all the help they can get at this point. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and switch gears to the draft. So everybody's got their mock drafts and everything. I don't personally do them because I mean, sure, like I just trust the Saints in knowing what they gotta do. My only concerns is who do we pick in the first pick most of the time. Maybe second pick, because sometimes you get a steal in the second pick, and that has worked out for the Saints in the past. But since we're going to specifically talk about the first round, I believe in the last video I said I think our biggest need is getting another skill player, and there's a lot of skill players out there. Like, I mean, Travis Hunter is one of them. I don't bear with me. I'm gonna try to pronounce this dude's name. He played for Arizona. His name is Tateroa McMillan. Good luck saying that 5 times fast. So he's really good as well. I've seen him perform. Obviously, Ashton Gianti from Boise State. Then there's this Tyler Warren guy who I've taken some keen interest in, but he plays tight end. So that's the thing I need to. Well, that's when I say. Let me explain myself. So, like last week, we signed Juwan Johnson to a 3-year deal, and I mentioned that maybe we could draft a tight end, but now that they signed Juwan Johnson, I don't think that's going to be a necessity at this point. But if they were willing to look at Tyler Warren, and he's like the equivalent to Taysom Hill. I saw some highlight tape on him like a week or two ago, and I was impressed. I was like, dang, this guy can bulldoze people. He can catch the ball anywhere you throw it to him. He's a talented guy. So I would not say no if he was on the team. So let's see other players like Trey Harris from Ole Miss. That's right, hotty toddy. Another talented player. Then there's Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. I could go on and on. There's a whole list of potential players that I would love to see the Saints get. But we're talking about one guy in this predicament. So, in terms of skill, out of all those like early round draft prospects that I presume will be early round draft prospects, I think the best thing here, in my opinion, would be getting Ashton Gianti. I really have admired him ever since he blew up at Boise State, and it's like he shows a lot of what Alvin Kamara used to be in his younger days. Like, I kid you not, like he's flat out amazing. Like he carries the ball well, he hardly fumbles, and he's fast. And he's one of my top picks. Now, granted, he is a running back, and I guess you could say we don't necessarily need one right this minute, but in my opinion, we kind of do. Now, I know I mentioned last week we need a skill player like another wide receiver, which we could still get. I'm going to go through other options later on. But having another running back to complement Alvin Kamara would be essential. Like, how essential? Well, let's be real. Alvin Kamara is getting old. He's about to turn 30 soon. In my age group at this point. And usually when running backs hit their 30s, they kind of have a tendency to slow down. It sucks, but that's how the NFL works. Like, excuse me, I'm gonna turn the camera a little bit. But anyway, so with that being said, it's like we gotta start thinking about the future because we got to start thinking about the future because we know Alvin Kamara doesn't have much left in him. Maybe I think if I had to give a guess, maybe another 2 or 3 years at best. I don't know for certain. Sorry if y'all hear my phone go off, but crazy chat. So, so anyway, but like I said, like we need to start thinking about the future in regards to the running back position because Alvin Kamara is not going to be here forever, and I'm grateful that he's still with us. It's clear that he wants to retire with us, which is excellent. But we need to start thinking about the future. And I think Ashton Giunti would be a great pick. Like, he would be the best replacement for Alvin Kamara that I can think of. And, and whatever happens with the other guy that I can't remember his name, I'll probably add it later. He's a guy who gets injured half the time. Why am I forgetting his name? But y'all know who I'm talking about. Dennis Allen kind of screwed him over. So, but I mean, if that guy can stay healthy, then we got a beast. We got another beast on our hands, especially with Giunti in the picture. If we were to draft him, of course. I don't know if he'll last that long, especially because we pick at 9. That's the thing. So it's like, I don't know what these other teams have in mind, but considering he's number 5 on this list I'm looking at, it's a good possibility he may be gone beforehand. So, which is why I'm not going to be like heavily fixated on him because otherwise we just all be left in disappointment. So, which is why the next one, which is kind of popular amongst social media, is wide receiver Taylor McMillan. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but I'm giving my best. He played for Arizona. He's a hands-on kind of guy. Like, he caught just about everything that was thrown towards him. He's fast. He kind of reminds me of Marcus Colston, where he's like, he catches everything that's thrown him, no matter how difficult the catch is. But he's not as fast, but he's reliable enough to where he can still beat you in a fast game. So, and given the state of our current receivers, and we currently have Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave, those are our 2 best receivers at the moment. We really could use someone who's more like the physical wide receiver 1. And like I said in the previous video, I don't believe Chris Olave is the actual wide receiver 1 on this team. Like, I think the Saints are going to try to, but I just don't think he is. So, but I think if we get this kid from Arizona, I think it could work out really well. Now, I don't know what the offense is going to look like by then. That we'll have to decide come preseason in August. So, but that's the thing I'm looking forward to is preseason. I just want to see how this offense is going to run. So, with that being said, he would be my second second option to for the Saints to pick. So now, like I already mentioned, I mentioned Tyler Warren. He would be a nice upgrade to the tight end position as well, and perhaps maybe he could be like Taysom Hill, like he could be the replacement to Taysom Hill. So, like I mentioned already, like he's got some skills. He's got talent. He's a very talented young guy who, like I said, displays very similar Taysom Hill energy and Taysom Hill playmaking abilities. Like, he's my third pick that I wouldn't say no to because, like, I mean, I could probably attach some of his highlights in the description below, but yeah, like this guy, I wouldn't say no at all because like he's won me over by how he's able to catch the ball, and no matter how you throw to, he plows through players left and right. Like this guy's a menace on the field, and it's a wonder why Ohio State had trouble taking him down. So, but with that being said, that would be my third option for this for the Saints to pick. If I had a fourth option, and I don't know if they will go this route, but I would go ahead and go for wide receiver Mika Igbuka, how you pronounce his name, from Ohio State. That guy, also like McMillan, was a menace on the field. Like he can catch the ball left and right. My slight issue with him is that I think he's gonna be more like a deep threat receiver, like Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are right now, and we don't need that. Which is why I'm more favorable about McMillan over Igbuka because we don't need another deep threat. We already got Shaheed out there. We got Chris Olave, who can be a deep threat when he wants to, and we got to figure out who our true wide receiver one is. So I'm not. So that's why he's like fourth on my list. Like he's definitely worthy of getting picked by the Saints, but I would not want to rely on him. So then comes number 5, and this will be kind of controversial to a lot of people. I'm going to throw in my boy Jaxson Dart. So this might sound biased, and I'm not afraid to say I might be a little bit biased about this one. But Jaxson Dart, in my opinion, is a guy you have to get. Now, people will probably say, well, why do you want to pick him at 9? We have more important needs. Yes, I agree. But if we were given the opportunity, why not? Because we know we need another quarterback. Derek Carr's not going to be here forever, and thank God he's not. We don't know how well Spencer Rattler's going to do. Jake Hayner is not happening. So it's like, you got to start thinking about maybe we should get a quarterback now instead of waiting for Archie Manning next season, assuming we drop off that bad. So, now I'm not saying, I hope we don't, because I'm a Saints fan. I hate losing with all my heart. Like, I just hate it. I absolutely hate it. So, but, given the opportunity that we have at pick 9, I would not say no to Jaxson Dart. I've watched this kid for the last 3 years at Ole Miss, and he did amazing. He broke Eli Manning's record as an Ole Miss quarterback there in passing yards, rushing yards, touchdown passes thrown, you name it. Like accuracy. Like the kid has accuracy. And I freaking love this kid. So, the only thing I would critique about him is that he needs to not fold under pressure so quickly. Now, I'm not saying he does. He's actually very composed in the pocket, but what I mean by folding under pressure, it's in regards to how the game is going down. Like, for example, last season against Florida, we had a chance to beat Florida, but we didn't. And he folded under pressure and threw 3 straight interceptions in a row. Now, technically, one of them was taken back because of a defensive penalty against Florida. But still, I kind of count him as 3 because how do you throw 3 straight picks when you know you had the game in your favor? Like, Florida was giving you all sorts of trouble, and you just threw it away. Same thing with Kentucky. Now, Kentucky was a little bit different situation. It's just nobody played well that day. And we should have beaten them, but we didn't. Now, I'm getting a little bit off topic here. But what I'm trying to say is that Jaxson Dart has a lot of great qualities in him. He's an efficient passer. He's accurate. He can make plays happen. He uses his feet. Something that we kind of all need for the Saints. Like, I've been preaching for a while that the Saints kind of need a different approach at quarterback. I think we need a quarterback that can not only pass efficiently, but also use his feet. And at first I thought that was what we got with Derek Carr, because I know Derek Carr used to do that, but I don't know what's happened to him over the years. So he just refuses to run. So it's like, all right, well, so much for that. But Jaxson Dart, in my opinion, would be the best pick for the Saints if we were to give that option. Now, there's other people saying they want, and this is actual news that I've been hearing, but the Saints apparently have been expressing interest in Cam Ward. I'm going to talk about that for a little bit. I personally am not a big fan of his, and And reason why is I don't think he's got it to be an NFL quarterback. I don't doubt his skill. I don't doubt his talent. But seeing him play at Miami, and he lost to some low, and every game that they played in, or he played in, that is, was close, and against bad teams too. That does not come from me whatsoever. So I'm not a big fan of his, and he hit like a level to where he can be a really good quarterback. Now, the pro side of thing I'm thinking about this is that he would probably be put in I guess a slightly better situation than, like, say, if he went to the Titans, for example, because we would at least have weapons already. We have an O-line that's in the making, hopefully. So it's like, and plus we have a brand new head coach, Kellen Moore, who is this offensive genius. And like I said, I wouldn't say no to that because maybe he might be able to grow. So like I'm trying to see it both ways with Cam Ward. Like I said, I'm not his biggest fan. I prefer Jaxson Dart over Cam Ward, but like I said, like the situation here is a little more favorable than if he were to say to go to the Titans or some other trash team like the Jaguars, for example. Which I don't think the Jaguars are picking a quarterback anytime soon. So I'm just saying. So, but here's the problem with Cam Ward. Hang on. Let me rephrase that. Here's the thing. Here's the problem. It'd be hard to pick Cam Ward without giving up a lot. So, like, for example, I see this. I see Saints fans on Twitter post a lot of their predictions and trade ideas if we were to trade up to get Cam Ward. This one most recently, which I do not agree with whatsoever, this guy came up saying that the Saints would have received the first overall pick from the Titans. In exchange, the Titans will get the 9th overall pick, the 71st overall pick of this year's draft, the 2026 first round pick, the 2027 second round pick, and then our wide receiver Chris Olave. Does that sound a little bit too much to you? So that's just one example. I personally don't agree with that because that's a lot to give away for one round pick. And plus, you would give away Chris Olave, who I think is still valuable to this team. I know he's probably going to be expected to get paid soon, but if we're going to be honest, like, he hasn't shown a whole lot to where he deserves to be paid, especially with his injury history. So, but to give away not just the 9th, but next year's first round and then him, I can't get on board with that. Who is Cam Ward going to throw to other than Rashid Shaheed? We still need to find weapons. Like, I know we just got Brandon Cook, so that's cool. But he's 31 now. He's literally my age. So it's like I'm looking at the future, especially if we were to get Cam Ward, and as I would love to have him, but at the same time, that's too much to give away. And there's some people who actually like the idea. It was like, think about it. Just think about it for a second. Like, do you realize how much we would be giving up? We'd be giving up a lot of picks, and then we give up one of a first rounder that we actually had to trade up for 3 years ago. I don't like it. Plus, I want to see Chris Olave thrive in this offense that we're about to implement under Kellen Moore's leadership. I want to see how he does. And if he doesn't pan out, he doesn't pan out. Then, oh well. Then we can maybe trade him off next season. That's just my thoughts. So, but yeah. So like that, I would label him as an honorable mention in my top 5 picks for the Saints that they could pick skill player wise. Another honorable mention would be Will Campbell, who's a tackle. And like I said, we could use all the offensive line help we can get. And Will Campbell, who played for LSU, did really, really well. Like, he hardly ever allowed a sack. And I should know firsthand because last season when we played LSU, when I say we, I mean Ole Miss. When Ole Miss played LSU in Tiger Stadium last season, and we had like a top-notch defensive front. And I can prove it because at the end of the season, we were like top 3 best in the SEC, top 15 overall in the nation. And they did not allow a single sack, especially him. So he's another honorable mention I wouldn't mind picking, but I would prefer that we get a skill player in this predicament. So, with that being said, I don't think I have much else to discuss. So, like I said, this is going to be a relatively short one. So, and if, by the way, if you're one of those poor saps who had their brackets broken from this year's March Madness, don't be sad because I'm with you there. Mine broke as soon as Louisville decided they're going to lose. So did Clemson, and so did a few other big teams. But hey, I don't care about that because me as an Ole Miss fan, as y'all can tell, my Rebs are already in the Sweet 16. So hotty toddy, baby. So, but I figure I just mention them real quick because I'm really proud of my Rebs. It's been a while since I've seen a really good Rebels basketball team. It's been since, I think since 2010. I think, maybe. I don't know. It's been a hot minute. So, but yeah, I'm really excited. I hope we can advance to the Elite 8 round. It'll be the first time I've seen them do that. This is only the second time that Ole Miss has been in the Sweet 16 in their entire program history. And same thing with the women's team too. Like the women's team as well. It's shocking that both of them are in the same round. So I'm hoping that my Rebs will get the job done, take down Michigan. I don't know who the women's team is playing. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, with that being said, that's all I got for today. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. If y'all don't mind, like and subscribe at the end. And share amongst your friends. I'll be here all day, and I'll see you guys next week. Who dat, baby?